Hello, I'm Hannah. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about why I started following the carnivore diet, some benefits that I have already seen from this diet, and a brief history of myself with diet. So let's get into it. For most of my life, I've been overweight. It kind of fluctuated a lot because I got into diet a lot. I was very much about restricting, and of course that would always end in some sort of binge. And so I would go all over the place, bit of restricting and binging. I've tried countless diets trying to, just get that quick fix, drop 10 pounds in a week or two. Just anything I could do. I wanted to figure out how to hack weight loss and just drop the weight really fast. I didn't want it to be something that would take a long time. I was more about, I want the results right now. I tried all sorts of things, which over the course of time have definitely taken its toll on my body, because I wasn't focusing on nourishing my body and doing what was good for my body. I wasn't conscious of this, but I was definitely doing a lot of things that were harming my body and malnourishing my body. I did find myself a lot of the time eating my feelings, and I think that's a big problem that a lot of people struggle with and maybe don't realize, don't name it, or just don't do anything about it. But I was definitely an emotional eater, and that's what caused me to just gain so much and feel horrible. And I know that for sure all of that dieting just wrecked my hormones. Not to mention the types of food I was eating definitely played a role in wrecking my hormones. But just that restriction and that just malnourishment of my body just totally destroyed my health and made me feel not like a functional person. And a lot of people have these kinds of symptoms and they just treat it like it's normal. Like now we kind of have this base level normal symptom threshold that a lot of people, if not everyone, are experiencing and just brushing them off like they're nothing. But I just want to let you know that as a human, you're not meant to feel horrible all the time. You're not meant to be low on energy, depressed, and feeling like crap. Your body should feel good. I mean, even if it's not always feeling amazing, it should base level be feeling good and not in pain. You shouldn't be feeling tired at your base level. Your brain should be sharp. You shouldn't be fatigued or foggy all the time. And so if you are experiencing those kinds of things, I would just urge you to look at your diet and your lifestyle and how that might be playing a role, because I really didn't realize for so long that the things I was doing, how I was living, what I was eating was causing my pain and discomfort, and I just thought this is how life is. And now that I feel amazing, I see that being a human's actually pretty great. So I want other people to feel this way, and I would urge you to take a look at how you're feeling and not just get used to this base level of feeling horrible, because that's not how you're meant to be. In college, I became a lot more interested in nutrition. I just was so fascinated learning so much about nutrition, and so I started, I already grew up eating whole wheat bread, but I started incorporating a lot more like whole grains and stuff in my diet because that's what they teach you. I just did all sorts of my own research, and so of course I became more scared of meat because I didn't want to experience kidney stones or gout or whatever that stuff is that they warn about when it comes to meat. And I briefly tried to go vegan, did not like it. I love cheese way too much. I love the animals, but I can't give up my cheese. Sorry, not sorry. And so I stopped that and just I just got in this habit of most of the time getting meat substitutes. Not all the time, but every now and then getting like a black bean burger. And that always seemed like a healthier option to me. Now I know that it wasn't. And so I had a lot of digestive issues. It took me a long time to even consider that it was something that I was eating that was causing my body to feel this way. When I was younger, I used to blame that discomfort on overeating because that was something I definitely did, just overstuffing myself. But it was more than that. And by the age of like 22, I realized that maybe gluten's the problem, because I noticed after every time I had like something with gluten in it is when I felt my worst. And I had like sharp pain in my intestines, would get really constipated even if it was whole wheat. As you know, they talk about, oh, it's good for you, all of the fiber, but that would constipate me hard and put me in a lot of pain. And when I finally started taking gluten out and just substituting other things, because noodles are my most favorite thing ever in life, I did start feeling better. I had more kimchi and bone broth because I looked up online and read about leaky gut and assumed that was what I was experiencing, which I don't doubt I was experiencing that. And so I just had a lot more bone broth and kimchi, and I think both of those did help to heal my gut a lot, because after about a year of avoiding gluten, when I had some, it started feeling a lot better in my body and I wasn't getting that pain. So I was like, great, I'm cured, and just eating whatever I wanted. Let's fast forward. Me and my husband got married, and 2 weeks after that, we moved to Japan. We had a 2-week quarantine, and I mean, right when we got off the plane, I was already facing some constipation. And the entire time we were quarantined in the hotel, I experienced a lot of constipation, like a lot. Part of it was just being in a room and not being able to move around as much. We did do some different exercises, but you know, you can only do so much when you're in a confined space. And then the only food that we had was these bentos that they would deliver to our door 3 times a day. And that was the only food that we really had. There was, at specific times of the day, we could go to this little area where they would have some snacks that we could purchase. And we did that a few times because we really did not feel like we had enough food during that time. We actually joked that it was like fat camp because the portions were just not what we were used to eating. They were a lot more Japanese style. If you don't know, Japanese people also have pretty high carb, very low protein diet. And that's how it is anywhere you go here. It's going to be really high carb, low protein. I maybe pooped twice when we were in that quarantine, but it was nothing substantial. Very not good. And I tried every day too. And so we moved into our apartment, and I was very adamant about, we're going to eat the Japanese diet. It's supposed to be so healthy, right? The people are so healthy. So I want to, be authentic, follow the diet that everyone here is eating. So I did that. I was buying vegetables galore. Like at least half our grocery budget was going towards vegetables. We were eating lots of rice, and then meat is pretty expensive here, so I would try and get it because my husband cares about having protein. For 6 months straight, I was chronically constipated. I could not have a satisfying bowel movement at all. It was really bad. I could not sleep for 6 months straight. I could not get restful sleep. I would not lose consciousness. I'd be laying down to sleep, trying to relax, and I'd be sitting there awake all night. So many people understand fatigue and restlessness, but when you cannot sleep, it takes it to a whole other level. My mood was garbage. I felt out of control. I could not regulate my mood or how I felt. I was just not fun to be around. I feel bad. I was a newlywed and I was just a nightmare, all because I felt horrible. Like my body felt horrible. I had insane inflammation everywhere. I already have a lot of joint problems and a lot of joint pain, but this was amped up. My back was just like permanently tight, and I could not relax. I could not feel better. I just felt horrible. So on top of being tired all the time and having such a horrible mood, I also felt starving all the time. Nothing made me feel satiated. I would eat, even if it was a big meal. 2 hours later, I would feel hungry again. And then if I didn't eat within a certain amount of time, it would become an unbearable hunger. Like truly unbearable. It was painful in my stomach. I felt starving and totally unsatisfied. I don't know if you've ever felt the difference of when your stomach is full versus when your stomach is satisfied. And carnivore showed me what a huge difference there is. Because when you're actually eating foods that your body wants and can use and absorb, like animal protein and animal fat, you feel satiated on a whole other level. Even people who've tried keto have noticed how satiated they feel from all the fats. So many people don't even understand. They think, oh, I'm full, so I'm satisfied. But it's a totally different feeling when your body's actually satiated and not hungry anymore and getting everything that it needs. And that was a huge thing that carnivore showed me, just the difference, and it helped me learn how to listen to my body more. I don't have cravings. I don't feel hungry all the time. I can go a long time without eating and I'm totally fine. And when I do feel hungry, it's not unbearable. It's to a level where if I don't eat, it'll be okay. And then when I get to a point where I feel like I need some calories, I'll eat. And sometimes I don't wait till it's at that point. Sometimes I'll eat when I feel a little bit hungry. It just depends on the day, what I'm doing, and how I'm going to go about my day. I didn't ever get diagnosed, so don't quote me on it, but I really felt like I was experiencing a lot of pre-diabetic symptoms. My husband wasn't even having the same symptoms that I was. He gets a bit of inflammation and feels a little but other than that, everything else in his body's working just fine. For me, it was like my blood sugar must have just been dropping and spiking all over the place because the way I was feeling was just horrible. No energy, even when I did eat. Eating actually made me feel tired, which was another thing. I think some people do experience that and don't realize that that's actually their body struggle. Because now when I eat meat, I feel satisfied. I feel alive and energetic, and it's just such a different world that anyone who hasn't tried this really can't put an opinion out there about it, because it's so different when you actually try it and see how it feels. And so if you're going to be skeptical and maybe think, oh, this is not right, that you're poisoning yourself or you're harming your body, I urge you to try it first before you put your opinion out there, because it will make you feel different than anything before. And I'm not all about those people who are putting in their opinions when they don't understand something. So I feel very strongly about, if you're going to have something to say about it, at least have experience with it as well. I had done some research online to try and figure out what I could change, what I could do to make myself feel better. And the first thing I came across was Dr. Gundry talking about vegetables and how they have a lot of anti-nutrients and things like lectins and oxalates that will harm your body. And it was kind of like, okay, this is one person. He is a doctor, so I'll put that in the back of my head a little bit, but I was still buying all the vegetables and having insane gas, insane constipation, feeling horrible. It took a little while, but then I found some other people talking about taking vegetables and carbs out of their diet and how that changed their life, and eating only meat. I watched a lot of those anecdotes and whatnot and was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, I'm so glad these people are healing their illnesses. I can never do that, but it's so cool to see that these people are healing all of these illnesses with this diet. And then one day I came across Mikhaila Peterson's TED Talk, the band TED Talk. And she was talking about all of her health problems and everything she struggled with and how horrible she felt. And how the last straw for her was when her rash spread to her face, and she had a rash on her face, and that was what made her like, I need to change something and see what's going on. And she started experimenting with her diet. I found it interesting that at the same time my eczema was flaring up for the first time in like 10 years. I have, it tends to go on my arms and down my arms, but I've never really had it. I want to say I haven't really had it anywhere else. It would just really pop up on my arms and my hands. It used to be really bad on my hands when I was younger. And so it started flaring up, and I had some big globs on my arms that were flaring up. And then it started going on my neck, and I've never experienced that, and it was really dry and horrible. And then it started popping up on my face, right around my eye and cheek area, and just being prominent on my face. And that was right after I found Mikhaila Peterson's talk, and I just couldn't stop thinking about that. I'm having these same symptoms that she's talking about. I already have the joint problems, the digestive problems, the mood problems, the depression, all of that. And it was just it's uncanny. I'm having all these same symptoms that she was talking about facing. She stepped up and did something about it to try and heal her body, so maybe I need to just try something. And so I decided to commit to it, and I tried doing carnivore for 2 weeks. I'm telling you, it was an overnight difference in what my body felt. Overnight, I was going to the bathroom again. I didn't feel so junked up and disgusting. I could sleep. My mood was elevated. I felt genuinely good and not crappy. I wasn't tired. I felt energetic for the first time in so long in my life. I felt energetic and just a beam of light. Overnight, it only took one day, and my body was thanking me for what I had done. And that's what made it okay, there's something to this. My body is communicating to me, there's something to this. And then my eczema flare started going down a bit. Now it's pretty good. Sometimes a little bit pops up and it gets a little dry, but it's not bad at all. It's not itchy anymore or anything. All of this was back in April of this year, 2022. And now, fast forward to now, I am doing beef only for the month of October. I am including butter in that though, because I want to make sure I'm getting plenty of fats, and I'm trying to up my fats because I keep hearing all this information about higher the fat the better, and my body's not fully adapted to high fat yet, so I'm trying to make sure I'm including enough fats and getting any extra that I can, so I'm doing butter. But other than that, it's just beef, salt, water. I'm even working on breaking my coffee addiction, which I've had for 16 years of my life, and I'm only 25, almost 26. So that's a bit of a mental challenge for me as well, just to do it, to prove that I can do it, and to just empower myself in that sense of being able to overcome that kind of dependence. I don't plan to give up coffee forever. I'm just doing it to really try to, test myself, challenge myself, and strengthen my mind throughout this process. So far it's been pretty good. It's been a little up and down. I'm on the 3rd day of it. The first day I felt amazing. The second day, my body was kind of bored, and the level of fat was kind of not sitting too well in my stomach, but today I feel great. So I decided to do beef only because I was consuming plenty of dairy, and my body when I first started, I lost weight. I lost about 15 pounds, which was pretty good for me. I've slimmed up real nicely, and my body's starting to shape out and look like a feminine form again. I'll put some old pictures of myself to kind of show the difference. But then my weight just kind of stalled. And I feel like part of that just has to do with all the dairy is probably just too high carb, and with some of the fruit is just too much. And so I wasn't gaining or anything, but my body just kind of stalled out. And so I want to lose a bit more weight. I've always wanted to actually get my body to the place where I want it. You know, I want to be fit. I want everything to be tight and good, not too much extra fat, just the right amount. You know, I want to feel good in anything I wear. And so I am focusing a bit on weight loss, but also just how I feel overall. Because honestly, my whole life, I have not felt that great. I've struggled with mood for a long time in my life. I just never felt good. I think so many people would see benefits if they just weren't consuming so high carb, were getting enough fats in their bodies, because it is actually something that your body wants. Now, this is just my personal opinion. I'm not a doctor or professional in any way, but just from my own experience, seeing how much fat has improved how I feel in my overall health. And I think so many people would see such a difference if they experimented with that, or at least were making sure they were getting healthy fats, which are saturated fats, not that monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, none of that crap. That is not what your body is looking for. Saturated fats are good for you. In case you haven't heard that, I'm putting that out there. They are. And I'm going to link a few things below in case you haven't seen any of this information, just to kind of show you what has been discovered in this diet space. There are a lot of doctors at the forefront of this diet who really believe that this is the answer to all of the health problems that people are having. And so I'm going to link a few things below for you guys to look at and really help educate you if you're skeptical or just haven't heard about any of this. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time.